What is going on, everybody? Today we are going to design an iPhone app. We're going to be using Adobe Experience Design, and I'm really just okay, all right. I'm just kidding about the login and sign up thing. I thought it'd be funny to kind of throw this up there. If you're watching this, give me a reaction. Give me a comment, give me a 1 or something. Let me know that you are in here and that you're interested in designing apps. I'm really just kidding about this overlay right here. I thought it'd be funny to throw that on there, but I'm really gonna go ahead and do a an in-depth look on how I design apps using Adobe Experience Design, Adobe Fireworks. We're going to use Wirecast or Premiere. Sometimes you can use Camtasia Studio or whatever video editor you like to use. But today I'm probably going to either use Wirecast or Premiere to render out some videos, to mock up a couple of ideas of what I want this app to look like, how I want this app to function, and we're going to use Adobe Fireworks specifically to kind of design some of the assets inside of this app. Now, I don't have this really planned out. It's more, I'm going to kind of think of some stuff off the top of my head and come up with some random shit that we're going to put into an app so you guys can at least just see what the workflow is like for coming up with a design. Now, I'm not going to design anything like real. This app is not going to be something that we're going to actually put into the App Store. I just want you guys to see what's possible, what tools I use in my process of actually thinking about, hey, what am I going to do with this app? What is this app going to look like? What is the user experience going to be like? Right? So with no further ado, let's just go ahead and get started. So Adobe Experience Design, I'm actually going to close this and open up a new Experience Design document. Now, to access Experience Design, you can download the Adobe Creative Cloud subscription. And inside of that subscription, you'll be able to access the beta for Adobe Experience Design. Now, there's also Sketch and a couple of other programs that you can use to mock up different apps. But let's go ahead and open Creative Cloud so that I can show you exactly where this is, along with Adobe Fireworks, right? All right, so when you open up Creative Cloud, you can go over to the apps. Let's say you're logged into your Creative Cloud account and you have the subscription set up. Now you can go in here and find all the apps. So we changed the additional apps filter to all apps. That way you can see all of the apps that are up to date. And you should find in here Experience Design. It'll say XD. And you'd click on the install button. I've already installed it, so mine shows up here with the open button. XD, Experience Design CC Beta. If you want to find Adobe Fireworks, you'd want to go and click on the app filter and then click on the view previous versions. And from here, you will find Adobe Fireworks. You'll have the option to install the latest available version, which is CS6. Most of the up-to-date versions of other apps are CC 2017 or CC Beta, right? So Fireworks and Experience Design is what I'll be using today. Now that we have Experience Design open, this tells us, hey, let's go ahead and begin a tutorial or choose what canvas you'd like to start with this prototype. We're going to use iPhone 6 and 7 canvas layout, which this gives us 375 by 667 pixels, but actually I don't want to do that. I'm going to do a custom size because I don't like that resolution 667. We're instead going to do 1080p. So we're going to open up a let's see, 1080 by 1920 canvas instead of 1920 by 1080. So by default, our screen is 1920 by 1080. The iPhone is actually a portrait orientation of a 1080p canvas. So we're going to do 1080 by 1920. And once we do that, we now have a 1080 by 1920 canvas that is pretty much this is like an HD 1080p video, but it's in portrait mode instead of landscape, right? We only do this because we want this to take up the full screen on our phones, right? So once we have this canvas created in Experience Design, we'll open up Adobe Fireworks and do the same thing. Control N or File New. We'll do width 1080 and height 1920. All right, this is going to be the canvas for our iPhone. By the way, thank you guys for joining. If you think that this is going to be helpful to someone, or if you want to just support all the teaching that I'm doing, share this with someone, and hopefully they can benefit from it. If you know someone who's looking to design an app, or who you want to partner with, or if you know a graphic designer who could probably learn this, share this with them, because all we're really doing today is graphic design. I am watching this live stream on my phone as I do this. Thank you, and Jerry, for sharing the video. So if you guys want to comment, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions or anything, throw them in the video. I'll be watching this in real time and I can respond to you in real time. So thank you guys for all of the support. Now, Adobe Fireworks, we've got a 1080 by 1920 canvas. So let me go ahead and minimize this really quick. The first thing that I'm going to do in Adobe Experience Design is go over to, let's see if we can find our, I'm going to click on this hamburger icon, and I'm going to click on open. Let's see, actually, now I'm going to click on new. I want to see what this opens. Oh, okay, here we go. Open UI Kit. So we're going to click on Open UI Kit, and we're going to open Apple iOS. Now this is going to open a new Experience Design window. It's going to take a second to load because all of these iOS kits are in vector format. And I think I'm going to just move this to the right side of my screen and this one to the left. So to move the canvas, to navigate around the canvas, you just click on the middle mouse button and drag. To zoom in and out, you hold down Control, and I think it might be a Command on the MacBook, and you zoom with the mouse button, right? You also have your zoom option up here. If you want to zoom to fit all, there's an option to do that as well. So we can go here and zoom to fit all. And now if I just zoom in, we can see all of our iOS, a couple of iOS templates, and these are vectors. If I hold down the Control or the Command key on the Mac and hover over different vector graphics or different layers, I can select individual layers because these are grouped. So I hold down Control right now to be able to select individual layers. I'm going to use the middle mouse button to kind of navigate through my canvas to see what options I have here for the iOS templates. And I can use some of these iOS templates to incorporate them into my custom design if I want or need to. All right, so these are all iOS templates to kind of give you an idea to base your design on, right? So with Experience Design, we're able to create a mock-up and a kind of like a working, I guess you'd call it a prototype, a working prototype that we can use to actually experience a real working app design. All right, so the first thing that I want to do is create, let's say I want to create some type of logo. What kind of app should we design? Somebody give me a couple of ideas. I may or may not take your ideas, but throw something in the comments to let me know what kind of app you want to see designed. Maybe if I don't take your idea today, I might put together a video for your idea in a future live stream. So somebody give me some ideas. In Adobe Fireworks, I'm going to go ahead and think about what type of, thank you for sharing the video, Chance. I'm going to think about what type of app I'm going to design. So in here, I'm going to go ahead and make a couple of changes to my canvas to change the color to transparent, right? So you've got your properties tab down at the bottom. And you have, if you deselect everything out of your canvas, if you don't have anything in your canvas, then you'll have the option to change your canvas color, right? So we can change the canvas color here. I like to choose transparent, which is going to give us kind of this grid background. And I'm going to go in here and throw, let's say I want to design a, let's just call this app hi, all right? Not HIGH, but like hello. And I'm going to change the color of this to like this bluish color. This looks kind of cool. All right, and I'm going to right click this text that we have and convert it to a path. All right, so now we have a path. I'm going to hold Control-Shift-G to ungroup this path. All right, now we have two individual vectors. And I'm going to go up to Modify, Combine Paths Union. Now we have a single vector graphic that we can manipulate, right, if we wanted to make some changes to this. So let me think of a different color. I might want to use something a little bit different. So I'm going to do something bright. All right, so there is our, let's say that this is our logo, right? That's a really crappy logo. We're going to roll with it. Let's see if I can copy and paste directly into. So I'm going to assume that this is a, yeah, when I copy and paste directly from Fireworks, it just pastes a JPEG flattened version of the image, which we can't really manipulate as a vector graphic. So that's not what I want. What I'll do here is go to File, Save, or Control-Shift-S. And I'm going to go up to my desktop, create a new folder. We're going to name this Hi App. Inside of this folder, I'm going to create a new folder and name this Assets. What program am I using? I'm using Adobe Experience Design to create the prototype for the app. I'm using Adobe Fireworks to create some of the app assets. I'm probably going to use Adobe Illustrator or Fireworks if I need to bring, or I'm sorry, Illustrator or Photoshop if I need to bring some vector graphics directly into Experience Design. And of course, I'm using Telestream Wirecast to broadcast. Hope that answers your question. Inside of the assets folder, I'm going to save this as a Illustrator file. So Adobe Illustrator. So we're using Fireworks to create this Hi logo, right? And we're saving this as a Illustrator file out of Fireworks. So I don't have Illustrator open. We're just saving this as an AI. So I'm going to save this as Hi logo. And I'm going to see if I can import that into my prototype. So let's go over to the hamburger icon. Let's go over to import, which is also Shift Control plus I. And I'm going to browse for this folder I just created on my desktop, Hi App, Assets. And no, I can't import that as a, can't import that from there. So let's see, what options do we have? We have SVG. So we could import an SVG. So what I'll have to do now is go to my Hi logo. I don't think I can save this as an SVG. Let's see, can we? No. So what I'll have to do is open up this folder, Hi App, and I'm going to open up the Illustrator file. All right, so this is going to open up Adobe Illustrator. And I'm just going to use this to save this as an SVG, right? All right, there it is. So File, Save As, and we're going to save this as an SVG. So let's say we did have a vector graphic that we were using for our logo, which I might actually go in here and import one, but I'm just going to save this as an SVG. There's our SVG. I'm going to go into our prototype with the Experience Design and click on Import, browse for our folder on our desktop, and we're going to import this SVG. Now we have an SVG of our logo. We can change the color of it in real time, but I'm just going to keep the color that we used because this is going to be the main color of our app, right? Maybe we can change the color of our canvas if we wanted to. So I want like a bright yellow. And this is going to be super bright and weird, but this is going to be the intro to our logo, or the loading screen of our app. So in the top left hand corner of our canvas that we created, it says custom size -1. We can double click that to change the title of this, and we're gonna make this our splash screen. SPLASHSCREEN. All right, this is our splash screen. Technically we could call this our home screen, but what we're going to do now is grab our splash screen by clicking on the splash screen text, and I want to see if I can copy and paste. Control C, Control V. All right, there we go. So Control C and Control V, that splash screen created us an entirely new screen. Once we go from the splash screen to the home screen, whatever is on our home screen is going to be here, right? So we're going to change the title of this splash screen -1 to home. What we're going to have here, I don't know, but we can take this high logo and hold down shift to adjust the size of it. And I'm probably just going to move this up to the top of our app somewhere for right now. I might want to get rid of this, I don't know. But the next thing I want to do is go back over to our Apple iOS app, and I'm going to copy this carrier text along with something maybe like the background. Let's see if we can copy something else. I'm going to copy this big gray thing right here and our carrier text, and I'll show you why I want to copy both of those in a second. I'm just going to hit Control C. I'm going to go over to our home screen and Control V, and I'm going to paste that in here. I'm pasting this in here because this is actually the wrong size compared to the canvas that we created in our prototype, and I want to use this what do you call this, control panel from the Apple iOS prototype layout to adjust the size of this to fit our entire canvas, right? So I'm going to hold down shift and drag this out. It's going to automatically snap to our edges. I don't actually want the control panel, so now I can delete that. And now we have our carrier text up here at the top for our prototype. Now, of course, I can go in here and select each individual part. So let me make this full screen. And I can change the text color to black. Carrier, we're going to do the same thing for everything else. We're going to grab all of our individual little carrier settings, or our you know, it shows us our Wi-Fi icon and the connection status. We're going to change the color of all of these little assets. Got a Bluetooth icon, 42%, battery life, and our battery icon, which these are all SVG vectors, so we can change the colors of them in real time. All right, so there's that. Now we have our carrier little text in here, and when we copy this over to a new screen, or when we duplicate our home screen, it'll automatically duplicate that carrier text, right? So I'm gonna move this high text, or our logo, up. I don't know if we're actually gonna use this, but I'm just gonna keep this up here for right now. Like I said, I have no freaking idea what we are what we're about to design, but I just want to show you guys how this prototyping stuff works. So the Hi app, I have no idea what the hell this is about to be. So I'm gonna go to Google and just kind of find some random stuff to use. I'm gonna find like a random background image. I'm just gonna search Hi and go to images. And I'm there you go. And I'm gonna bring in some random image in here just so that I can show you a couple of features of experience design, how you can literally drag and drop assets from inside of your web browser into your app, right? For the purpose of prototyping. This is kind of cool. Let's see what this looks like. I don't like that it has a white background. It has a transparent background. Can I bring that in there? Transparency? Yeah, so when I clicked on this and dragged this from the actual Google preview of the photo, I dragged it in there with a white background, which is not what I want, right? So I'm going to delete that one. And when I actually click on it, I can see that it has a transparent background. So I'm just going to bring this into my experience design using the transparent background, but I want this onto my next screen, my home screen, right? So as I copy this, it shows me that it's a PNG transparent graphic, and it's telling me we're going to copy this from our web browser. All right, boom. I'm going to minimize that. So this is just random, like I said, guys, very random. And I'm going to censor this to my canvas. Hi, Josh. My name's not Josh, but this is cool. I don't care. I like this. So what do I want this app to be about? I have no freaking idea. But I do know that I want our splash screen to go over to our home screen. And how we're going to do that is we're going to link our splash screen to our home screen via our logo. All right, so right now we're in design mode. I'm going to click on the prototype mode so that we can, okay, this is telling me, hey, this is how you prototype stuff. Boom, boom, this tell you blah, blah, blah. You can click on assets and choose how you want them to transition. I got it. So now we're going to prototype from our splash screen to our home screen using the logo that we created. This logo has a transparent background. So any area of the logo that I tap on my iPhone, I want that to cause us to make a transition from our splash screen to our home screen. So we're going to grab this little arrow right here from our logo and connect our logo to our home screen. All right, target home, transition, we're going to set it to dissolve. You can also set it to where it like slides up, left, right, or down, or pushes over. Pushes left or pushes right, but right now we're just going to choose, actually let's try push down. Do we want to push down or push up? Let's do push up for now. Easing, ease in and ease out. I like to ease in and out, so this kind of makes the transition smoother on like going into the transition and going out of the transition. It'll make more sense once you actually use this. And we want this to have a relatively fast transition, or if you want a slow one, we'll do 1 second so that I can show you exactly what that looks like. Now I'm going to click on this play icon so that we can preview our app. So here's our app. If I click on hi, it's going to transition. Ooh, that's real smooth. That's real cool. And I don't have any other prototyping transitions in here to go to the next slide or the next thing that I want to use. So I'm just going to close this right now, go back to my design. I'm going to click on my hamburger icon because one thing you want to always do is save. So I'm going to click File, Save As. We're going to go over to our desktop. We're going to browse for our Hi app, and we're going to create a new folder. I'm going to name this Projects. Inside of this project, we're going to do Hi 0.1. All right, so this is 0.1 version of our app. Now, Adobe Creative Cloud usually will allow us the opportunity to sync over our experience design projects. Let's see, assets, home. So Creative Cloud files. So I'm going to open up Creative Cloud files, and I'm going to go and grab our desktop folder where we have our project saved, and I'm going to copy this over to our Creative Cloud. Now it's going to sync. Once it syncs, what you should do is now open up your iPhone and download the Adobe Experience Design app on the iPhone. This is synced now, so let me go and open my iPhone. I'm going to minimize everything. By the way, I'm using iOS 11.2, so if you guys want to check out the beta of this, it's pretty cool, but it's still unstable. I don't recommend it if you have sensitive information on your phone that you don't want to lose. So I'm going to go and open up the, let's see if we can find it, Adobe Experience Design app in our phone. We're going to browse our Creative Cloud by tapping on the folder icon in the top right. We're going to wait for everything to sync and load. And now we have our High 0.1 Adobe Experience Design app. The reason we designed this in 1080 by 1920 is because we want this to take up the entire canvas of our iPhone. So now I tap on this and our app should load. Hey, so it says long press to access the menu. If I just tap anywhere on the screen and I load it, if I tap anywhere on the screen and hold it there, it's going to open up our menu so that we can see artboards. We can share this screen as an image. We can see hotspot hints. We can view settings and open experience design documents. The hotspot hints tells us where on the screen we can tap to make something happen. So I want this to go full screen. All right, so if I tap anywhere on the screen, it's going to say, hey, you need to actually tap right here where your logo is in order for something to happen. So this gives us a hint. Hey, tap right here. All right, boom. I tap it and there's our app. Oh, whoa. Transition, and it looks cool as hell. This looks so clean and unique. But now I can't really tap anything I can't tap anything else on the phone, right? So what I need to do is close, well, I didn't mean to close that actually. What I need to do is close the app on the phone. I need to go back into Experience Design, and I need to make a couple of adjustments. I want to go back to the prototype option, and we've got our other logo up here in the top. I'm going to bring this logo to, you know what, actually what I'm going to do, that's a pretty small logo, but I guess it's big enough for us to tap with our thumb. I'm going to make a transition from this logo to our splash screen so that we can go back to the splash screen. We're going to push this one down instead of up. It's got a 1 second duration and it goes back to the splash screen. We can file save. And of course, what I'm doing, there's a way that you can sync this directly to your cloud when you're saving files. But I'm just going to go over and copy the file so that we can always have a new file in there. I'm going to delete the first version that I saved into Creative Cloud and copy over our new one. And I'm going to let that sync. So now it's synced. I can go and open Experience Design again, and now I need to long press so that we can open our menu. I need to open Experience Documents or Experience Design Documents from Creative Cloud because we just uploaded a new version of this. I'm going to refresh. I'm going to refresh again, and there's our new one. So we're going to open this. We tap on high. This brings up our transition. And then I'm going to tap on the high at the very top of the screen. And it's going to bring us back to our splash screen. So now we have a working app. I've got this pulled up on my iPhone right now in full screen. So if I wanted to take this to an investor, right, this is the purpose of creating prototypes and designing the app in Experience Design using Fireworks, right? It's very easy. I've been on this stream for 30 minutes and I've created 2 screens of an app that I have on my iPhone, literally. I can take this to an investor and say, hey, I've got a team of people we're designing this app. We've created a prototype. We've put in time, energy, and our money into this software to create this prototype. Now I'm pitching to you not just an idea, but something you can hold in your hand and actually navigate through so that you can get a hands-on experience and so you can see the branding and what I've created here, right? So when you take an idea to investors, investors do not give a shit about your ideas, right? What they like to see instead is the fact that you've put forth one effort, your time, you've initiated and acted on your idea. You've put forward action, right? They want to see that. They want to see that you've created a team of people you've brought together a team of people or a small group of people who have skills that you guys are leveraging to create this prototype, right? They don't care about your idea. They care about the people who have the action behind that idea, who are going to be proactive and take action before reaching out to them, Mr. Investor, for their funds, right? By bringing this app prototype to your investors instead of just some crazy idea that you have, that shows them that you're willing to take the initiative to get things done without their help, without their money, and you're willing to spend a little bit of your money on the front end, which shows that you don't care so much about their money, so to speak. You care more about your resources, and you are willing to find the right people to make this possible. If you go to an investor and say, hey, Mr. Investor, I have a great idea that's going to make you a billionaire. Well, one thing that they know is that you don't care so much about your resources and taking advantage of what you already have accessible to you as much as you care about money. They know that you're money motivated when you come to them asking for money without giving them something up front, right? But when you have a team that you put together, that shows that you're goal oriented and that you're more motivated on actually achieving something because you've brought something you've created to them, right? You're willing to do what it takes to bring an idea to them, which means when they give you their money, you're still going to do what it takes because you've already started the process. You're going to use their money wisely. It means it shows that you're willing to take action. And even though you might fail, even though you might lose some of their money, they don't care because you've already started putting a team together. Now they're not, they're not set on the idea that you're going to need their money, their resources, their people, and they're going to have to go and take the time to put the team together and develop the first version of the prototype. You're already doing that for them. So now they're giving you their money so that you can do what you're good at, which is, action. So the initial investment from the investor is going to go into the actual development and the deployment of the first MVP into the App Store. MVP stands for minimum viable product. This right here is a prototype that is going to be given to the developer, whether you outsource on Upwork.com or 99 Designs, or you go to Field.com to get an app developed by a agency in New York, right? It doesn't matter which direction you go, but the initial investment from the investor will be used so that the developers who actually do the coding can take this prototype and create the actual code for the app and then deploy that onto a server inside of the Amazon server or Google servers or whatever servers they decide to use, which is going to cost money, right? They can deploy that code into the server so that you can actually download the app onto your phone using the code instead of this prototype, which is just a set of images, right? Once you have that app inside of the server and it's working, you can deploy it into the App Store, again, using the initial investment from the investors. And the money that you make, whether or not you make money or the money that it costs, is actually going to cost money before you start making any to keep the app in the App Store on the Amazon servers. With the more users that you get, the more it's going to cost you to keep that app in there. But what investors want to see outside of your action and your team, that's what they care about the most, is you and your team. That's what they invest in, not your shit idea, because an idea is really more dependent on, or the success of an idea is more dependent on the team behind it than the idea itself. So that's what investors will invest in. That initial fund is going to go towards the development and the deployment. And then, of course, a lot of that money from the initial fund is going to fund the continuous cost of having that server as new people download the app. Eventually, someone like Amazon or Google or some other random company who has another app in this space, your competitors might want to acquire that app, and they're going to buy that app from you. More than likely, they're going to make an offer to say, hey, we want to buy this app from you. And the way that they're going to determine the cost of the app and what they pay, it could be $1 million, $10 million, $2 billion, is going to be more determined on how many users download the app, right? How many users you have and how many users have downloaded the app in a specific period of time. So the acquisition is determined specifically on the number of users. The more users you have, the more you will be able to make from Amazon, for example, but the more it's going to cost you until you get an offer, which means you have to use that initial investment from the investor to keep funding all of the server costs for having more users on it. Of course, there's things like security and all that other bullshit that you don't really necessarily need to worry about on the front end. You just need to go and get a prototype design so that you can have something to put into your investor's hand. When that investor holds this prototype, he's going to say, wow, you've got a prototype, but you also have action and you also have a team. I'm more impressed in the fact that you came to me with something that I can look at and a group of people who did this than I am of the app itself. Now, this app could be ugly. This app could look like shit, but they're going to be like, wow, you took action. I don't care that this app looks like shit, but this is a great idea. Great ideas are shit as well. I don't care about ideas, but the fact that you took action is going to give me more of a reason to go and get my designer who can make this app look great, and my money, which can make this app work great. So because you took action and brought me a team of people, I have money, a designer, and a developer, or I have money, a designer, and another team of people that we can bring into your existing team to make this work, right? So when you reach for investors, you are going to go and find an investor who has invested in apps before, right? So that they kind of have an idea of what you're going to need with what you're going to need to do with the money they're going to give you, right? And they're probably going to take some percentage of the company, or they're going to say, hey, since we're investing $1 million into this, I get to make the decision on who develops it, right? You're going to be like, okay, you guys are going to negotiate all that good stuff. But now that you understand what the importance of creating the prototype is, we are going to kind of continue on so that I can just give you a few quick examples on, how to navigate through Adobe Experience Design. So as you see, we use Adobe Fireworks to design our logo or our asset. Really, you can bring anything in here, right? So what I'm going to do, and I know that this is 1080p by 1920. What I'm going to do is bring in one of my own logos as a vector. So let me go and open up a new folder. I'm going to grab a logo from one of my clients, something I did for one of my clients. I'm going to make sure that this is one single vector. So I'm going to combine all these paths. All right, so this is a vector graphic. I'm going to paste that in here exactly where I want it. We're going to center this to our canvas. And I'm going to create a rectangle so that I can kind of adjust this rectangle to the center of our canvas exactly where I want my logo to be, since my logo is a little bit offset because of this little effect right here. All right, that's exactly where I want it to be. And I'm going to bring in here as well this background, which is like white marble. That's cool. Adjust my canvas size and just click OK so that it can trim that white marble to my canvas size. And then I'm going to throw that behind everything. And get rid of this high. I don't know how I feel about this logo though for this purpose of this tutorial. Let me just see what else I have that I can use right away. All right, so I'm going to use this Soul Food Bakery logo. All right, so this is kind of random and yeah, it's very random. But we're gonna grab our Soul Food Bakery logo, and let's say that this is gonna be our loading screen for our app. So I want to create something a little more unique. This is all vector, right? This is all vector graphics. So I'm gonna take everything that's black, right? All my black vectors, and I'm gonna combine the two black vectors along with our Soul Food Bakery logo. All right, so I'm going to make sure all of this is one vector, combine path union. I'm going to turn that off, and I'm going to grab our yellow vector, modify combine path union, and I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to create a new canvas, Control N. And this is going to be also be 1080 by 1920. With a transparent background. I'm going to grab our yellow vector, copy it, Control C, go to my new canvas, Control V as in Victor to paste. And I'm going to go File, Save As. And this is going to be inside of our assets. We're going to save this as an Illustrator. So let's say this is Vector 1 Illustrator. Now I'm going to delete that, grab my black vector, copy it, go to my new canvas and paste it. The reason that I'm doing this is because inside of my canvas that I have right here, I do have a background and a couple other layers. I don't want to save our Illustrator file with all those other hidden layers inside of the Illustrator document. Right, so I'll create a new document temporarily so that we can just have the layer that we're trying to save. Control Shift S to save as. I'm going to save this as an Illustrator document, and we'll name this Vector 2. And the reason we're doing this is because when we import this into Experience Design, we want to be able to manipulate the color of those vectors, and we want them to be in vector format so we can export an SVG later if we actually decide to take this app and create a working product for the App Store. All the vectors will already be vectorized. So you know, assuming that we're going to use this design in the MVP of the app. Now I'm going to go over to my folder. So Creative Cloud, projects, and actually desktop high app assets. And we're going to open up Vector 1 and Vector 2 in Adobe Illustrator so that we can save these as SVG files. Once we save the SVG, what we can actually do is delete the original Illustrator file that we saved before to kind of save space on our computer. All right, so let's figure out where our Illustrator window is. I don't know why it's not showing on my screen, so I'm just going to close it and open it back up. All right, so Vector 1. And Vector 2. I'm gonna wait for that to open. It's a pretty big vector from my computer, but we don't have to necessarily worry about where the position is. We want to keep it as is. And I think vector 2 just might be taking a while to load because it's a pretty big vector. So first, let me save this as a SVG. Let me close that as soon as it's done saving. And I don't know if I'm using the beta version of Adobe Illustrator. Adobe Illustrator CS6 is probably going to perform much better on your computers. So now I'm going to close this again and just open it from scratch. So keep that in mind. Adobe Illustrator CC does have a few issues because it's the brand new version of Illustrator. So when you're downloading this, consider downloading the CS6 version. Save as, SVG, save. Just hit OK. Now I'm going to close this. And I'm going to delete these two vectors, or the Illustrator vectors. And now I'm going to go back to Experience Design. I'm going to delete my high right now, or, you know, actually I'm just going to create a new screen. And I'm going to delete this high. I'm going to go to our hamburger icon and import, and vector 1, import vector 2, and you may need to adjust their position. So I'm going to kind of zoom in so that we can adjust this using the arrow on our keyboard. Now I'm going to grab both of those, just highlight over both of them, and hit Control G to group them together. We're in prototype mode, so I'm going to go back over to design mode, and I'm going to center this to our canvas. All right, I'm going to change the canvas color to, I guess we can do white. And I'm actually going to import, well, I was going to import a picture in the background, but I'm going to keep this as is. Now the next thing I'm going to do inside of design mode is grab a rectangle, and we're going to bring this rectangle right over our Soul Food Bakery text. I'm going to change the fill by removing the fill color altogether. I'm going to remove the border color altogether, and then I'm going to go over to our prototype mode, and we can use that rectangle as a hotspot to click on the Soul Food Bakery text to view the next slide. Right, so you know, let's say, and I know I'm kind of designing some random stuff in here, but I just want you guys to see the workflow of how Adobe Experience Design works. I'm going to take my Hi Josh text, and I'm going to link that over to our Soul Food Bakery screen. Right, and this is just random. We're going to link this over. We're going to use a push left, and then we're going to change the duration to like 0.2 seconds. I'm going to change the name of this splash screen to Soul Food Bakery, and I'm going to duplicate it. Control C, Control V to paste it. And inside of this screen, I'm just going to go ahead and delete that hotspot and our logo that we brought in here. All right, so this can be whatever. And I'm going to link the hotspot from the previous screen over to our new slide. We're going to set this one to be a dissolve. And then inside of our new Soul Food Bakery window, we're just going to have home 2. What I'm going to bring in here though will be an image. So I'm going to go over to Adobe Fireworks. We can now delete this Soul Food Bakery vector. But you might want to save a PNG version of whatever assets you design so that you can always have a PNG backup, right? So Control Shift S, save as assets, SFB logo maybe. And we're going to save this as a fireworks PNG. That way, if we ever need to come back and edit this, we can. So I'm just gonna hit Control S to save this again, like this. All right, now I'm gonna take our background, which right now is marble. I'm gonna copy that, paste it into our new document, and I should now be able to Control C and copy that graphic and go into our experience design and Control V, and it'll paste directly inside of the canvas, right? I'll go back to design mode. I'll Control X and cut that. Go back to this Soul Food Bakery canvas and Control V to paste that here. And I think you hit Command down. Alt, is it Alt? I don't remember what button it was to bring this image down. So I'm just gonna right click, arrange, and send backwards. So it's Control plus the left bracket. So Control left bracket, and this is going to bring this image down underneath all the assets that are below it. So now we have this cool looking background image. Inside of our home 2 screen, we're going to have an image of, let's say, a background of food maybe. So I'm going to open up my desktop, Soul Food Bakery. We're going to grab the image that we want to use. And we're going to open this with Adobe Fireworks. We're going to copy that image and paste it into our canvas and adjust the height to match the canvas. I think it's 1920. I want to constrain those properties so that we don't screw up the image quality. All right, so let's say this is the image we want to use. I'm going to go and adjust the canvas size and just hit OK so that this trims our image. We're going to hit Control C to copy that. I'll go back now to Experience Design. We're going to click on our Home 2 screen and Control V to paste that. Now we can adjust the opacity of this. We can adjust the canvas fill color to black. Well, actually, no, I'm sorry. I just filled our image. So I'm going to undo that. Click on our Home 2 screen and change the fill color to black. Right, so I just selected Home 2, and that gives me the option to update my fill color of the background. And now my image, even though we have an image here, we change the transparency of this to be something really light. So what I can do now is go and copy our carrier, our carrier text. Control C. I'm going to go back to our home screen and just click home screen and hit Control V to paste that here. Now we have to change the color of all the text to white. All right, so again, I'm not designing a real app here. I'm just showing you guys the process of using Experience Design. And then I can go over to our iOS canvas or the iOS demo or template that we opened. And I'm going to try to find like maybe a back button that we can incorporate. So right here in the iTunes, the music player, we have this down icon. And it's already in a group. If I double click this, I can now access each individual portion of this grouped object. But I'm going to copy this grouped object, Control C. Plus, I'm going to copy maybe the bottom of this track, like options down here. I'm going to copy it all together. so that when I paste it into my home 2 screen, even though it's at the wrong resolution, I can use that bottom piece as a reference to lock this to the bottom right hand corner of my screen, hold the shift button on the keyboard, and transform this to fit the entire width of my screen from the bottom right hand corner. Now I can deselect everything and select this bottom that we copied and deleted. So now we have this down arrow. I'm just going to use our transform properties to rotate this, and I'm going to hold down shift so that I can rotate this to be a back arrow. Now I'll go over to prototype, and then we're going to prototype and bring this back arrow, connect this back arrow to our previous screen. Right, so if I zoom out, we can choose how we want this back arrow to function, and let's say we push left. I want to see what push left looks like. And we're going to transition this to 0.2 seconds, ease in and ease out. And I'm going to hit the play icon. We click on our high button. This brings in the option to go, and test out all of our triggers in our prototype. I click hi Josh. It brings it over to the pushes right, I think. If I click on Soul Food Bakery, it fades, and if I click our back button, it pushes the wrong way. So I'm going to go and change this to push right. Now hit our play button, and it pushes right exactly how we want it to push. All right, so I just created 2 splash screens in one app, and the triggers that make this app function. Now I'm going to hit File, Save. I'm going to minimize everything. We're going to go into our app assets, our project file that we just saved, and I'm going to bring up our Creative Cloud files. I'm going to delete our original Creative Cloud project file and copy over our newly updated project file. We're going to wait for that to sync. Once it gives us a green check mark, I'm going to open up my phone. We're going to open up Experience Design again. I'm going to tap on the screen and long hold so that we can bring up Experience Design documents from Creative Cloud. We're going to refresh a couple of times. Now we have our new one that was updated, created 0 minutes ago, our new project document. So we can tap on our high icon and it'll give us a smooth transition. If I tap on the high icon at the top here, it's going to bring it back down. If I tap on hi Josh, all right, so it looks like our app crashed. And again, this is a beta, so that this type of thing will happen. The app is a beta anyway. We don't necessarily need to use our iPhone app to preview this. We can just click on that play button. All right, so we had an issue there with the app inside of the prototype. So let's see if we can go and make any changes to this. And I know exactly why this crashed. I know exactly why this happened. So our Soul Food Bakery logo is really this is a vector graphic. It's a really complex vector graphic, which is why that happened. So what I'm going to do now is delete our Soul Food Bakery logo. We're going to go in Adobe Fireworks and open that original file. I'm going to delete this background. I'm going to take our Soul Food Bakery logo, which you see these vectors, you see all these little bitty dots. Experience Design cannot handle this complex of a vector right now in its beta version. So I'm going to type Control-Alt-Shift-Z to flatten this image. Now we have a bitmap that is transparent. We're going to hit Control-Shift-S to save this asset as SF logo flat transparent. Now we're going to go and grab that logo from inside of our project folder, the flat transparent version, and it's going to go exactly where we want it to on our canvas. All right, so it's going to be centered automatically because the canvas of this project file is 1920 by 1080 or 1080 by 1920. So now I can go back and grab our background that we had again. So projects, assets, or actually no, I can just copy and paste that. So we're going to copy this background. We're going to select our Soul Food Bakery layer or canvas and hit Control V to paste. And again, Alt, I think, was it Alt and the left bracket? Or was it Control? Yeah, Control and the left bracket will bring this background behind our Soul Food Bakery text. Now our Hi Josh is still connected to this canvas. Looks like our Soul Food Bakery, the overlay that we created. So the Soul Food Bakery logo initially or originally was up a little bit higher. We can either move the logo up or move this transparent square down to fit over the top of our logo. And the transition will still sit in place where it's supposed to be. Now I'm going to hit Control S to save this. We're going to go back and copy our newly updated project over to our Creative Cloud folder. We're going to wait for that to sync. Once we have that green check mark, I'm going to open up our iPhone. And let's see if it's going to work this time. So now we'll open up Experience Design. And we're going to go from the Creative Cloud and we're going to refresh it to make sure that this was updated 0 minutes ago. And we're going to click on our newly created document. So now if it crashes, that means there's an issue with the app and not the vector. But I believe it was too complex of a vector. All right, so let's try that one more time. Actually, I'm going to close out the app. And again, I'm using iOS 11. So I might have a couple of issues with this because I'm on a new version of iOS that is still in beta. So I'm going to refresh it again just to double check, make sure we're using the right one. And yeah, we have an issue there. So what I can do now is go open up Experience Design. I'm going to open that project and try something different. I'm going to long press to access our menu. And I'm going to tap on Artboards. And I'm going to click on the last artboard and then try to go back. All right, so it's that one screen that's giving us a problem. Let me make sure that we did delete that vector. I think we did. So there's our Soul Food Bakery. I'm just going to move that out of the way. I'm going to move this out of the way. Yeah, we definitely deleted that vector. So alternatively, what we can do, instead of having this here and this canvas here, I can go into Adobe Fireworks and combine these together to where it's one big image and no transparency. We're going to copy this one big image, click on our Soul Food Bakery canvas and Control V. Now we have one image here. Now if I click on prototype, let's see. I'm going to move this down using control left bracket to make sure that this is behind our our little rectangle that we created. File save. So let's try this a third time with no transparency in this complex transparent fork that I created, right? So obviously if you click play, this is going to work inside of our prototyper on the desktop, but we want to see what this looks like on the phone. So in some cases you will have to create a transparent image, which is just like a screenshot of what you're trying to import. And again, we're going to delete our project file from Creative Cloud and make sure we hit file save in Experience Design, which we did. Copy over our new document. Again, we wait for that to sync. Now that it has synced, open up a new Experience Design project, refresh it just to be sure, and I'm going to go straight to the artboard to see if that one slide works. And it does. All right, so now let's see what's up with our other slides. So again, you might not have this issue on iOS or on your version of iOS that you're using. Again, because mine is beta, but that's actually how you would go through prototyping your app. Of course, you can send a link to this prototyping tool right here. You can send this link over to anyone and they can pull it up on their computer and preview the prototype. You can also take this to an investor to show the prototype via this video. All right, so you pull this up, you say, hey, you click here, you tap here, this is how it works. Let me open it up one more time. Starting it with my splash screen, I'll hit the play button, and we have basically a working app. You can pretty much do what you want here, right? So a couple of cool features that you can create inside of Experience Design is a tool that pretty much automatically duplicates specific sections so you don't have to go and design them from scratch. So I'm going to open up the iPhone template. We're going to grab I kind of like this, so I'm going to grab this right here and I'm going to show you an example. But I'm also going to grab the top of this so that we can copy that at full width. I'm going to grab all of this actually. Copy, home to, paste. We want to hit control and the back bracket or the left bracket to bring this behind everything. Control T, or actually design, and I'm going to hold down shift. All right, so the issue that we have now is that all of these duplicates are now being, these duplicates are not, what's the word for it? They're not transforming properly with our aspect ratio of what we're trying to do here. So what I'm going to do is see if we can transform those all individually. I don't know if we can, so I might just have to go in here and copy all these little pieces. So I'm just going to copy this, Control C. I'm going to delete this whole thing and hit Control V to paste that individually. And we're going to adjust the size of this. And now we want to group these two together. Control G. I'm going to change the color of this header text to white. Change the color of this text also to white, and this text to white. What this text is going to be, I don't know, and that doesn't really matter right now. Make a couple of aesthetic adjustments, and then we're going to move this entire thing to make sure it's centered. One of the tools that we can now use is called a repeat grid. So now that we have this little item in here, we can use the repeat grid tool to now drag this green, this little box right here, and this is going to automatically repeat our grid. You know, repeat whatever we have in that one asset. Now we can also go in here and adjust the spacing between each grid item so that we don't have to go and design all of this from scratch. All right, so let's adjust the spacing to make this fit. Boom. All right, that's pretty freaking cool. And another cool thing that I can do now is I can go and grab, so we've got this background up here that we just imported from our iOS background. So I want to go and copy, let's see, I'm going to go and copy this, I'm going to copy this image right here, Control C. I'm going to go into my Home 2 and hit Control V to paste. And now I'm going to see if I can trim this, which I believe I can. Where is our trim option? Let's see, we have a trim option somewhere. All right, so one thing that I guess I can try to do is Control X. I want to see if I can paste this inside of, which I know that there's a way to do this. I'm just not exactly sure how to do this, but I'm going to figure it out right now. There's a way for me to paste this inside of here so that we can create a mask. And there should also be a way for us to trim. To trim or cut. All right, I'm not gonna, okay, I think this is it. Some of these options up here, I'm not exactly sure. So what I'm gonna do instead is, let's see, what height is this? This is 184.32 pixels. So I'm gonna open up Adobe Fireworks and grab a rectangle and change the height of this rectangle to 184.32. Or just 184. I'm going to Control C to copy our, or Control X to cut our background. I'm going to grab my rectangle, turn that white, and Control Shift V to paste it inside of that rectangle. Now I'm going to flatten that. I'm going to copy it, Control C. I'll go here and Control V to paste that, and then move it exactly where I want it. I'm going to hold the Control and left bracket to move that behind all of my other assets, which means that our text now needs to be black, this carrier text. So I'm just going to delete that carrier text, go and copy this one and paste it here. I'm going to change the colors of this to be white and the color of the outline to be black. And there should be more text in here somewhere. So let me move this out of the way and grab this for you text. I'm going to X cut it. and paste it. I'm going to make sure this text is centered. I'm just going to change this to locations. So what I can do now is go over to Google, and this is a really cool feature. And I'm going to find, I'm just going to search something like cities. And then I'm going to grab a few of these photos. Inside of Experience Design, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different placeholders for images. So I'm going to go and grab 5 different images. So we're going to save this image as, we're going to navigate to our desktop, go in the Hi App Assets. I'm going to create a new folder, and we're going to title this Cities. And then I'm going to save this as 1.jpg. I'm going to save this as 2. I'm not worried too much about the quality because these images are going to be small anyways. I'm going to save this image as 3. We're going to save this image as 4. We're going to save this image as 5. I actually would not, I'd rather have number 2 be this one. So I'm going to save this image as 2, and I'm going to replace our number 2. Now I'm going to open up my folder where those assets are. We're going to grab all of these images. We're going to highlight them. I'll open Experience Design. And what I should be able to do, if I remember this correctly, is drag all these images. And I got to start, you want to drag by image 1, right? The first image that you want, that's the one you want to click and drag from. I'm going to try to copy these here. Let's see what this does. Boom. All right, it worked. So what you can literally do is grab all the images, and since this is a repeat grid object, it is going to automatically populate each individual image exactly to fit inside of those squares, right? Or inside of those little layers. All right, so another cool thing that you can do, which I'm going to duplicate this entire screen. So I'm going to actually undo that, Control Z to undo that. And I'm going to copy and paste this screen. Now I'm going to go back and redo what I just did in this section. We're going to do something different on our duplicated screen. So I'm going to wait for these all to paste inside of their place. But on our duplicated screen, I'm going to get rid of this entire bottom section of stuff. We're going to get rid of that whole thing. And we're going to extend our ungrouped grid, or we're going to extend our grid down to where we have a few more images. So we've got 5 here. We need 6, 7, 8, and 9. So I need 4 more images from Google. We'll save this image as 6. I'm going to save this one as 7. This one as 8. And we'll do this one as 9. So we're going to grab images 1 through 9 now. And we're going to bring those into our duplicated screen that has an extended grid. So this grid goes beyond our canvas. So we're going to wait for all of those images to populate. Now I'm going to grab our grid, or our canvas, and then we're going to drag the height of this canvas down to actually show all of our grid items. What I do want to do now is actually change our background. So we know our background is at 18%, and our canvas height is actually 3048 pixels. So I'm going to go to Adobe Fireworks. I'm going to delete everything. We're going to drag this out, or we're going to change the canvas size to 3048. we're going to find that image, or maybe a new image. And I'm going to adjust this image. Right now, I guess I'll just rotate it. Set it to 0, 0. And I'm going to change the size of this image to fit my entire canvas. And I'm going to change the adjust the canvas size and just hit OK so that we can trim this. I'm going to copy it. Now again, we know that in our experience design project, this image in the background is at 18%. I'm going to delete that image. We're going to paste the new image, Control V to paste. We're going to adjust this to 18%. And then we're going to use the Control and left bracket button to make sure that this is on the background and not laying on top of our text and images. So what I'm going to do is change this explore text to something that says near me, because we're going to use this as a button. I'm going to grab both the icon, which is like a Safari icon, and the near me text, and I'm going to hit Control G to group this. I'm going to go over to prototype, and then we're going to send this button over to our new screen. The transition, I'm going to have this transition as dissolve. And then I'm going to change the locations text to near me. I'm going to grab this back icon and use that as a transition to the previous screen. We're going to use dissolve as well. I'm going to do the same thing with this back icon to make sure it goes back. And we're going to preview our app from starting from our home screen right here, right? Our Soul Food Bakery splash screen. All right, so I click on, or I tap the Soul Food Bakery icon. It fades over. I think I want to do a pushover instead. So instead of a dissolve, let's do a slide right. Let's see what that is. Play. Whoops. All right, so actually instead of slide right, we need that to say slide left. All right, so now what we have is our splash screen. I'm going to tap on the splash screen icon, and it brings us into this constricted view of our different locations. But I want to view locations near me, so there's a button down here that shows the near me icon. All right, so I click on that, and it actually dissolves and it changes the screen. Now we can scroll. Click on back. Like, that's pretty sick, right? So this is all happening in real time. So now I'm going to go back to experience design. Control S to save. I'll open up my folders. I'm going to delete the old version out of Creative Cloud, and we're going to copy over our new version. And we're going to wait for that to sync. Now, whether or not this is going to work on my iPhone, again, I'm using iOS 11.2 beta, so some things don't work properly. Before I updated, all of the apps that I created in Experience Design worked flawlessly. So if you don't have an updated version, you probably won't have any issues. But I'm going to attempt to go through the artboards on this app and see how well that's going to perform. Again, you want to refresh it to make sure it says 0 minutes ago. It's going to take a little bit longer to load because we have more screens now. I'm going to long press our menu to go directly to specific artboards to see if they load. All right, so it looks like that little bitty icon that we imported is what's actually having the issue. So to remedy this right now, for the sake of this tutorial, let's see if we can flatten this wire. I guess for now, I'm going to go and try to delete this little thing right here and see if that makes any difference. I'm going to save this as a new version, 0.1.1. And you'll want to kind of test a few things to see if, you know, making changes to any of your graphics allows for the prototyping app in Experience Design to work properly. And what I want to do right now is go ahead and send you guys a link to this app. And I'm going to go ahead and paste this inside of our live stream really quick. That can't be what I copied. There it is. I don't know what video I just sent, but here's a link directly to the app in the App Store. And I'm also going to try and save or share this document with you guys. So now we have 0.1.1 and 0.1. I'm going to see if I can actually share this with you inside of our live stream. So for right now, I guess what I'll do first is make sure that these work. Yeah, it's not going to do it for me. So maybe you guys go on here and check it out and see when I share this link with you, see if it works on your phone in Experience Design. What I'm going to do is click on this button in the top right hand corner, and I'm going to click, we're going to share this online. We need to create a 120 by 120 image. So I'm going to go into Fireworks, Control New, 120 by 120, and then we're going to grab our high screen, or, you know, maybe I'll just Control, I'll print screen, paste that in here. And we're going to save this as icon. Now I'm going to grab that icon, drag that in here, allow comments, and we're going to create a link. So now we're creating a shared link so you guys can go and download Adobe Experience Design and see if this thing works on your phone. And if it does work completely, and you can go through the entire app, and I'll be updating this project file. So now instead of, you know, doing a file save in here, what I can do is, first let me just go and copy. Actually, I don't want to share a link to this one. I'm going to close this, and I'm going to open up the project from inside of Experience Design, so, or inside of our Creative Cloud. so that when we save it, it automatically syncs to Creative Cloud. So I'm going to open up the project from here. Let me close this one too. That's not the one. And I'm going to share the link to this one. Is this the one? Yeah, this is the one. So now we're going to redo everything that we just did. Drag this in here, create a link, and I'm going to post this link in the comment section of this video, and I'm going to pin this link for you guys to be able to check out. So if you're on your computer, you can click on this link and check it out on your computer. I don't know if you can actually check this link from the Experience Design app on your phone. Maybe you can, but what you're going to access is basically this whiteboard version of the app so that you guys can check it out from your phones. Right, so I can scroll in the app and everything. So let me go and copy the link. We're going to go over to Google Chrome. And I'm going to pin that comment to the top. So here is our app that we are creating right now in real time. If you guys are on your desktop, definitely go and check this out. This is pretty cool. You know, it's nothing serious. I'm not really creating a crazy app. And I'm sorry for like all the guys that I can't confirm. Well, I can confirm them, but I just don't have time right now to go through all my friend requests because I don't just confirm them. But send me a direct message if you are waiting for me to accept your request, and I'll look for you. Now, you know, you guys can go and check out what I've designed here. And this is really cool because, like I said, it's a working prototype. I'm going to click on the home or the splash screen and click the play button. And now we can go and look through our newly created app. Even though it's not a real app, this kind of gives you an idea of what is possible with Experience Design. So all of this works in real time. You have the option to even scroll the screen. There is a tutorial that comes with Experience Design. There's a lot of people in the community online who have some insight on how to navigate through Experience Design. There's literally a lot that you can do to make this very, very, very unique and customizable. So with this being said, now that you know pretty much how to navigate through and create your app prototype, use these same tools to go and build out your app. Like maybe you have a specific page that you want to animate and create a video version of. What you would have to do is design that prototype screen inside of Adobe Fireworks, or pull up your iPhone, you know, maybe find a way to share your iPhone screen. I use Air Server, right, to share my screen, which is what you see right here. So what you could technically do is record your screen using a screen recording software like Camtasia. You can record it using Telestream Wirecast, and you can open up the app inside of Experience Design. And while the screen is being recorded, you can go and open up your app. And then once the app is open, you use your recording from the screen recording to create a video, right? Assuming that everything goes through smoothly. So once you record the video, you can then go and import that video into a video promo, and then put that, you know, crop the aspect ratio of the video, crop out this black portion inside of Premiere Pro or whatever video editor you use, so that the dimensions of this video file is at 1080 by 1920, and then use like an iPhone placeholder. You know, I'll actually go and show you right now what I'm talking about. So I've got I've got Air Server here. I'm going to open up a new shot of Telestream Wirecast because that's what I like to use. And I'm going to go and grab from Google a iPhone in hand. We're going to go to images, tools, size, large, color, transparent. And I'm going to use one that has a more updated iPhone. I kind of like this one. It's got a transparent background. We're going to copy or actually save this image. We can save this inside of our app assets. So phone in hand. I'm going to open this in Adobe Fireworks. And what I'm going to do is grab a image or a rectangle. We're going to change this rectangle to 1080 by 1920. And I'm going to change this to green maybe for now. And I'm going to transform that 1080 by 1920 down to fit our phone screen. So as you can see, it's not necessarily the most perfect picture. Someone took a picture of the phone in their hand and cut out the background. So we might have to kind of adjust this rectangle a little bit so that it covers the entire phone. I'm going to add a little bit of roundness to the corners to match the roundness of the screen. And then I'm going to set this green layer to have a blend mode of erase. Right, and we can save this Control-Shift-S as phone in hand 2. I can go into Wirecast now. And you guys got to watch my Wirecast how to do a live stream video if you want to know how to use this program, which is, I think I've got one on YouTube and one on Facebook. And I'm going to go and add a media file to one of these layers. So I'm going to go here, add a media file. I'm going to browse for that document. So Hi App, Assets, Phone in Hand 2. And there's our phone in hand. It looks pretty cool. It's got a black background because the canvas is black. Now I'm going to go and add another media file inside of this actually. So in this shot, I'm going to go and add a new layer, which is going to be a screen capture. We're going to go and capture video. We don't want to capture cursor. We're going to do 30 frames a second. We're going to choose a window. I'm going to select which window I want to use, and we're going to use Air Server. Click OK. There's our window. Boom. Now we bring this screen capture down one layer behind our phone. I'm going to move it a little bit and adjust the shot layer properties to scale this down into our phone. So I want to try to make this as perfect as possible. Obviously we can't get it 100% perfect. Let's try 42. I am dyslexic. And that's pretty close. We can go with that. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect, but let's, you know, just for the sake of this tutorial, now I have my iPhone in here. I might want to do a little edit to this though, because there's a shadow. I'm picky. There's a shadow coming from her finger. So what I'll do is hide this. Let's see if we can kind of recreate that shadow over the top of the screen. So I'm going to grab a pen tool. And then I'm going to throw that behind. You know, actually I can just combine these layers, throw this in the back, change it to black, give it a feathered edge, and change the transparency. Alright, so all of this stuff is like, I can teach you how to do all this good stuff. We're going to Control S to save that. And if I go back into Wirecast, it automatically shows that little update. So in Fireworks, I can just kind of update that in real time to see what it looks like. That's much better. That's cool. I like it. And you can see that shadow kind of right there on top of our iPhone screen. So this is my actual iPhone. Like, I can go and browse through it and do stuff, right? So you can create an app promo right here in real time if you want to. All right, so I'll pull up our app. And let's say we didn't have any issues with the experience design. I'm going to change some transition settings on these layers. So I'm going to grab both of these layers. We want these to transition from the bottom to the bottom, decelerate, accelerate. And now when we bring that into our live shot, it's going to come in from the bottom like that. All right, so let's put like maybe a little media file, like a video in the background. So I'll grab a random image. Or I'm sorry, random video. We're gonna make sure the video has no audio and make sure that video is taking up 100% of our canvas. I'm gonna push that over into our live stream. I'm gonna go to the output settings, and we don't really need any audio for this. We're gonna use MP4. Okay. I'm going to save this on the desktop inside of our folder. Hi app. New folder. We're going to call this folder rendered. And we're going to call this rendered 1. Okay. So now I can click the record button. We're recording. I can bring in my app. And I can start actually using this to prototype out the experience, right? So let's say I already had the app open, just, you know, hypothetically. All right, so, you know, let's say we were recording this from the beginning and you wanted to show people the walkthrough on YouTube. Well, there's our app. And assuming that it worked properly, you can go and prototype this and then bring out the video. Stop the recording. I can close this, no need to save it. Open up our folder, rendered, and here's our video. All right, so that's just kind of giving you a little bit of insight of the tools are like right there for you to be able to record something that's totally crazy that your you know, potential investors will see this. If you go to the right investors and start looking for investors, you will have the tools right at your fingertips. If you don't know how to do design, find a designer. If you don't know how to edit videos, find a videographer or someone that does editing videos. Grab a designer, a video editor, and, you know, a group of people, and get like a small group of people together who can make this possible. The designer should have Adobe Creative Cloud so they can get the experience design app. The video editor should have all the video editing tools. You guys just get together, transfer files back and forth, talk about and discuss the app that you want to design. Say, hey, when we design this app, you guys are going to have X amount of equity in the app if this is successful. So let's work together to build this app, or I'll pay you to design the idea that I have, and I'll pay you, Mr. Video Editor, to edit an app promo for me. You know, $5,000 is what you put out to get this mock-up designed if you don't have the skills or the time to do this yourself. And then once you have a working mock-up, I really wish I could show you guys a video that I did for one of my clients. you can take that to investors, and they're going to see your mock-up. They're going to see your working project file on the computer that you can send them a link to. They're going to see your mock-up inside of the app on your iPhone that they can actually hold in their hand. And they're going to see your team, your website that you put together, all this good stuff. And you could potentially become a millionaire in a year, right? You could like Amazon bought an app from a 14-year-old for $30 million. Okay, so all the tools are right here for you guys to actually start getting your ideas on paper. If you don't have the money, don't beg someone to do this for free for you. If you don't want to take the time, your free time that you have to learn how to do this yourself, pay someone who is a great designer and a great video editor to help you get this together. You don't have to give them any equity. Just pay them to do the work and say, hey, this is what I want. Give them some apps as a reference. Hey, I want it to kind of look like this, but I don't want to implement this or that feature. And they say, hey, awesome. Now you take that and grab the URL and bring that to investors. Say, hey, I have a working version of this app. And I want you guys I want you to go and check this working version out. Boom. They're going to pull up this link. There's the link on the desktop. I posted it in the comments and I pinned it. You guys can go and click on it and actually go through it. And it is a working app. All right, so if you have any questions, comment on the video below. If you like this, give me a thumbs up or heart or something. If you don't like it, give me an angry face. I don't care. And share this with somebody that you think will benefit from it. I apologize in advance for those of you who are watching where I might have left out a couple of things. Like I said, I didn't really plan this video out, so I just did all of this from the top of my head. So it might not have all made sense. Maybe I kind of went too fast in certain areas. But if you would like to see me do a full full course where it's separated into modules and lessons for how to work through Adobe Experience Design, how to work through Fireworks, how to work through the video editing program to create a promo and actually bring this app into a real working prototype, post a comment or send me a direct message and let me know. I plan on doing this anyways, but I want to know that you guys are interested in seeing this. This is potentially this could potentially be a life changer for someone who has a great idea but doesn't have $100,000 to get the app in the App Store efficiently. Right, so this is a great way to get started with creating a promo and potentially getting some investor to invest and back your already created idea. You don't want to take an idea to an investor. You want to take to him a concept. You want to initiate on the idea and create a beta. This is technically a beta. Investors like betas, and they like teams who have created betas because they know if I invest into a team who has created a beta, they're going to use my money to do something with it, and they're not, they're going to have at least some type of direction where they've already started creating something. So that means that they are willing to go and put my money to good use. Now, if someone comes to me and they want my money, but they're not willing to put their current resources to use, then they might not do something good with my money. So I don't want to invest into someone who can't utilize the resources they already have because they might not use my resources efficiently. All right, so take that with a grain of, or don't take it with a grain of salt. I don't know. Whatever you guys think about this, you could potentially use this to bring your next idea to fruition. Hope that this has been helpful to you guys. If you need any resources or any help, or if you want me to give you some specific resources to help you figure out how to get started, what to download, or what moves to make after you've created a prototype, send me a direct message. If you want me to design a prototype for you, or to help you on a project, send me a direct message and let me know what your budget is, whether or not you have a deadline, and what your idea is, and I'll consider working with you. Of course, you can pay me for my time in creating what I think your app should look like. A lot of people who have an idea don't have any creative direction and usually prefer for me to take creative direction. The last app that I designed for a client, he had no idea what it was going to look like. He didn't know what logo he wanted, the branding. He just said, this is what I want to do. I want to connect so-and-so with so-and-so through this app. You can take full creative control. I'll pay you the money right now. You just do what you want to do. I need 12, I want at least 12 pages inside of this promo, and I want a video. Right, so I designed all 12 pages, even more pages actually. I think I created a video promo. I created the prototype that he could use inside of Experience Design. I sent him a link to the design that he could use to kind of navigate through the app himself. And I created video versions of some of the pages that I couldn't put into the prototype so that him and his potential investors could see what different pages would look like if they had animations and, if someone were to actually click on things and scroll through them. So best of luck to all of you. Go out there and start taking action and start seeking for investors. There are a lot of investors in the world who are looking for some shit to spend some money on, for a team to spend money on, for the action that is taken by that team to spend money on. They don't care about designs because a million people can come up with the same design. It's the execution behind that is going to get you the money, and that's going to change your life. Good luck. See you in the next video.
Let's review the top 20.
All right, so this stuff that I'm just showing you right now, actually, I wanted to kind of break this video up where that promo was just playing. That promo is a perfect example of what an app promo would look like. And I'm going to cue that from the beginning so you can see that little laptop thing that I just put up. I wanted to break this up so you can see, hey, when you create an app promo, this is what it's going to look like. You don't have to do it all from scratch. You can find some templates and 3D video templates for After Effects and Premiere Pro that you can put your app into that iPhone template where someone has an iPhone in their hand to create what appears to be a real working app so your investors can see, oh, okay, wow, like I like what you guys are doing here. I want to give you my money. So let me play this back again, but consider that laptop or those laptops as how your app would look inside of a promo.
Let's review the top 20.
So how the video is actually showing the working website on the laptop, I actually just recorded my screen and imported that screen recording into the asset, the 3D laptop asset inside of Premiere Pro or After Effects, all right, to make this promo possible. So where you see the video of me inside of the red laptop in the next slide, it's going to be a video of your app on an iPhone instead. And that video of the app will just be screen recorded, a screen recording of the mock-up.